Hello and welcome to the fifth longevity snapshot, where we will take a look at how a combination of vitamin D, omega-3, and exercise could potentially slow down the rate of aging. My name is Chris Linnell, and I am the founder and president of the Canadian Longevity Association, Canada's premier longevity nonprofit. If you'd like to find out more about what we do and how you can support us, then please check out the links below this video, where you'll also find a link to the study being reviewed here. If you enjoy this video, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel. As we await the introduction of truly effective longevity treatments, what can we do in the here and now to help us reach that time point? This study might provide us with a partial answer to that question. So this study was a subset analysis of the larger Do Health trial, which was an intervention study in over 2,000 healthy European adults over the age of 70. They gave them 3 treatments, either individually or in combination. Either 2,000 units of vitamin D, 1 gram of omega-3, or a home exercise program, which consisted of 3 30-minute resistance exercise sessions per week. Looking at the allocation of participants, we can see what the 8 different arms of the trial were. In this subset analysis, all of the participants were from Switzerland, and there were 777 in total. 95 of them had no treatment, 101 only took vitamin D, 98 only took omega-3, 92 only did the home exercise program, 95 took vitamin D and omega-3, 104 took vitamin D and did exercise, 95 took omega-3 and did exercise, while 97 did all 3 treatments. Before we look into the details of this study, we will briefly look at the results of 4 prior studies using the Do Health data. The first study looked at blood pressure, fracture risk, physical performance, infections, and cognition. And although for most of the parameters they did not find any significant difference, for infections, they found that those who took omega-3s had a 13% lower risk of infection, which was particularly significant for upper respiratory tract infections and urinary tract infections. In the second study, which looked at fall prevention, they found that once again, only those who took omega-3 had a reduction in fall risk, in this case, 10%. The third study looked at cancer risk, and here the individual treatments resulted in a 24 to 30% reduction in cancer risk. The pairwise combinations resulted in a 44 to 48% reduction, while all 3 treatments together resulted in a 61% reduction in cancer, which is quite considerable. The final study was on preventing the transition to pre-frailty. And here, once again, they found that when the 3 treatments were taken together, there was a 39% reduction in the transition to pre-frailty. Links to all 4 of those studies can also be found below this video. Now, moving back to the present study, this study looked at how the biological rate of aging changed over the course of 3 years using 4 aging clocks: PhenoAge, GrimAge, GrimAge 2, and Dunedin Pace. And we'll look at this graphical abstract to give a brief overview of those 4 clocks. So starting with PhenoAge at the top left here, this uses 9 blood chemistry markers for its analysis. And in fact, this is something you could test yourself using standard blood work. Calculators for this can be found online. Next, GrimAge 2 uses 9 plasma protein markers as well as smoking history for its analysis. The Dunedin Pace uses data from the Dunedin longitudinal study and shows how the rate of aging changed using 19 biomarkers of organ system integrity. The last GrimAge uses 7 plasma protein markers, which are listed here. They are all related to diseases and dysfunction. I will explain what they relate to shortly once we look at some results. And here are the results for the 4 aging clocks, starting with PhenoAge in the top left. And as you can see, here are the 7 treatment groups on the left-hand side. And any results to the left of this dashed line indicate a reduction in aging. Anything to the right is an acceleration. Out of the 3 individual treatments, omega-3s performed the best, as you can see with this black square being furthest to the left. The pairwise combinations showed an improvement, with once again those containing omega-3 performing the best. However, the best result overall was when all 3 treatments were combined, as you can see with this black square being furthest to the left. So this is indicating that there was an additive effect with combining these treatments. For GrimAge 2, only omega-3 on its own showed a significant effect. as can be seen by the fact that its error bar, which is this black line here, was fully to the left of the dashed line, whereas all the others also went over to the right-hand side. For GrimAge in the top right, once again, only omega-3 showed the greatest reduction. Also here, its error bar went over the dashed line to the right-hand side. Likewise, with the combinations, only those containing omega-3 had the black squares on the left-hand side. The same went with Dunedin paste, with only omega-3 on its own showing a significant reduction. And once again, the combinations containing omega-3 were the ones which performed best, though there wasn't an additive effect compared to omega-3 on its own. What did these results mean in real-world terms? Well, according to the authors, the combined intervention resulted in a 2.9 to 3.8 month reduction in biological aging over the course of those 3 years. Now, that doesn't seem like much. However, if we extrapolate that over a longer period of time, over the course of a decade, it would mean being roughly 1 year younger in biological aging terms. Now, looking in more detail at those 7 plasma protein markers from GrimAge 1, once again with the 8 intervention arms on the left-hand side and the dashed line in the middle here showing a reduction on the left and a worsening on the right. Again, lower is better for all 7 of these. We start with GDF15, which is a marker for cardiovascular disease, death, and heart failure. And here we can see that omega-3 performs slightly better than the other 2. And there seemed to be an additive effect with the 3 pairwise combinations doing slightly better, once again with omega-3 performing best. However, all 3 treatments together performed best of all, as you can see by the black square being furthest to the left. PAI-1 is a marker for cancer, atherosclerosis, and other diseases. And here we see yet again that omega-3 performed best out of the individual treatments, as it did in the pairwise combinations. However, the triple combo did not improve on that. TIMP-1, which is a marker for cancer, yet again, omega-3 performed best in the individual treatments, and best overall was omega-3 combined with exercise. Moving on to B2M, which is another cancer marker, omega-3 performed best, and I think you can see a trend emerging here. However, for this protein, the triple combo performed best of all. ADM, which is a marker for vascular disease, omega-3 was once more at the forefront for the individual treatments, while the combination of omega-3 and exercise performed best in the pairwise combinations. However, the triple combo didn't seem to do as well. Looking at leptin, which is a marker for obesity and metabolic disorders, yet again, omega-3 on its own and omega-3 with exercise performed best. And finishing off with cystatin C, which is a marker for kidney disease, none of the treatment arms made a significant difference, with perhaps omega-3 combined with vitamin D performing slightly the best. And there we have the results of this study. Now, they weren't particularly groundbreaking, and by taking these supplements and doing exercise, you're not going to live to 100. They did, however, show that these treatments could make a small difference, and over the course of decades, that small difference could rack up. One thing to bear in mind was that the participants in this study were healthier than average. They had lower levels of vitamin D deficiency and had higher levels of physical activity, with 88% of them being considered physically active. And as we have seen in other trials, and especially in mice, animals which are already healthy show less of an improvement. So we can go out on a limb and hypothesize that for the general population, this intervention would show greater effects. All in all, this was a useful study, and I particularly like the fact that it was done over 3 years. Too many studies I read about are only for a few weeks or a few months at best. Though, of course, it would be even better if we could see even longer studies. Considering the ease as well as the low cost of this intervention, and also taking into account that there were no adverse effects, I don't think it would hurt if we all supplemented with vitamin D and omega-3. And we all already know that exercise is good for us. For those of you living in Canada, considering our high latitude, supplementing with vitamin D in the winter is especially important. And that marks the end of another longevity snapshot. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. So until next time, goodbye.